In March 2010, tens of thousands of Americans opposed to the healthcare reform bill and the Obama agenda in general, with only a 3-day notice, converged on Washington, D.C. for an emergency show of strong but peaceful opposition as the final vote loomed. That fateful day, stunned leftist politicians looked out over the massive last-minute crowd of patriots and responded in the only way they knew how, to slander. They cleverly sent a group of black politicians to parade through the crowd with cameras, hoping to lure some protesters into racist and hateful actions. Unfortunately for them, they were unable to document any such event, so they, in spite of all evidence to the contrary, insisted that racist and sick behavior was perpetrated that day. This was a deceptive distraction. They were and still are cynically manipulating the media and liberal voters with the oldest political tool, fear. Now, months later, this lie is the basis for the NAACP to publicly slander the Tea Party movement as racist. So why are the leftists so intent on distracting the people's attention away from what happened that weekend? We were there for the entire 2-day event, and we know why. You've heard ad infinitum about the spitting and N-word fabricated sideshow. Now take a few minutes to see the main attraction, what the leftists do not want you to see.
This great country for all the undiscriminating opportunities he has given me throughout my 20-plus years here. Unlike our president, I'm not here to apologize for America. Quite the contrary! I'm so proud to have fought to become an American citizen. I was born and raised in Brazil and moved to the United States back in 1986 with my family, looking for life, liberty, opportunity, and the pursuit of happiness. And I feel that my family and we have lived the American dream. I came here to escape the same things that are beginning to take place in America today. These days, I find myself astonished as I realize that there is a direct correlation between what is happening in the United States and what has happened in Brazil and the rest of Latin America. I make no apologies. What is gradually beginning to be imposed on America in the land that once free is Marxism through and through. And I like to call it 21st century Marxism, a camouflage statement for communism, since we're not fighting a bloody battle. Instead, we're fighting an ideological war. So, even though many Americans would not know this, since political events in Latin America rarely make it into the news here, although it's in our own backyard, we are on the same political path that 21st century Marxists in Latin America have used to democratically elect presidents such as Chavez in Venezuela, Lula in Brazil, Morales in Bolivia, Correa in Ecuador, Kirchner in Argentina, Ortega in Nicaragua, and the list goes on and on. What we are witnessing here in America today is a duplication of what has happened in Latin America. The same tactics are being used here. Infiltration of the education system, implementation of class warfare ideology, voter fraud, brainwashing through mass communication, and hollow promises to the lower economic class that will never be implemented due to the real and hidden agenda of these politicians. People of South America who believe in freedom and not tyranny are fighting to remove these corrupt leaders from the power gained in sham democratic processes. In many instances, however, it is simply too late. Marxists have taken over the legislative and judiciary branches of those countries through a combination of corruption and ideology. And those citizens believed in silver-tongued politicians preaching hope and change. So let me tell you, there has been change in Latin America, not the change the people were hoping for. So we need to finalize to send a loud and clear message emphasizing conviction over party, demanding candidates who once again stand up and fight for small government and freedom. My parting thought to you is that we need to regain control so that we can let the people once again and not the government govern our nation. Remember, the government works for us. We do not work for the government. I have left my homeland once. I refuse to let America go down the same slippery slide without putting up a fight. God bless you.
I know that those of you who may have voted for Mr. Obama feel betrayed. If I had voted for him, I would feel betrayed as well. I do feel betrayed. anyway, I feel betrayed. And I want to say to you that indeed he has not kept any of the promises he made to us, the American citizens. He strode into office on pernicious lies, vile deception, and pretense. And the job, as has been said before, for our politicians is to work on our behalf. It is not to massage and stroke the egos of other politicians. It is to represent their constituency. And so I stand here and say to you, America is the greatest force for good in this nation. I first think of the veterans who have shed their blood, sweat, and tears for this nation. And this health care bill is just one leg on the road to a pernicious journey to change this nation, and we don't want to change. It's wonderful the way it is. It hasn't always been what it is today. We know that. We know the history. It's important to know that history. It's important to know it so we don't repeat it. But I watch youngsters in my schools continually disrupt classes, youngsters who were disrespectful, youngsters who didn't possess a modicum of decency, who walked around the young men with their pants down around their rear end. And whenever I would ask them, "Are you a gentleman?" they would always say to me, "Yes, I'm a gentleman. Who wouldn't?" So I ask you, America, what kind of country do you want? Do you want a nation that is led by Barack Obama? Heck no. Do you want an America in the vintage of a George Washington? Yes. In the vintage of a Ben Franklin? Yes. In the vintage of an Abe Lincoln? Yes. In the vintage of Ulysses S. Grant? Yes. In the vintage of Harry S. Truman? Yes. In the vintage of Dwight Eisenhower? Yes. In the vintage of John F. Fitzgerald Kennedy, who once was our great president and protected this country during the Cuban and Soviet Missile Crisis. Do you want an America of the vintage of a Ronald Reagan? Yes. I'm learning more and more about Ronald Reagan. Do we want an America in the vintage of a Dr. King who had good moral character and stood up for this nation to do the right thing? Yes, we do. So indeed, we do need to repeat, God bless America. It is the quintessentially noblest country in the world. I am blessed to be an American. I'm a patriotic American.